Right, so it's the night before the Northern Open, and I'm actually turned up in a hotel to meet two strange men.
Gay!
I've been invited by two people off the internet, and I'm incredibly excited to talk to them today, so we're going to see how that randomness goes.
Ah, you've come. Come in, my friend. Come in.
So I'm here with James and Chris from Totally Crit, and they've invited me to come and have a quick chat the night before the Northern Open to sort of go through the missions and record a quick podcast. So I'm super excited to be talking to you guys today. I was kind of wondering on my way up here, sort of like, what's the kind of furthest you guys travel for tournaments? Are you big tournament players?
We don't do many tournaments, do we?
That's a filthy
It's
lie.
infrequent.
That's a filthy lie.
We travel...
We don't do as many as we used to.
No.
Probably once a month now, whereas we used to knock up a couple.
Furthest is Exeter, isn't it?
Well, now this is the furthest.
We'll cross the nation for an Infinity tournament for
Yeah.
ATS.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about that.
That's
you know.
pretty interesting. Okay.
I mean, Exeter used to be... I mean, the thing about Exeter is that was one of the first tournaments John, Rob and I went to. And it's a couple of hours, so we had to stay there sort of overnight. Whereas I think you've been to Exeter on your Todd. Have you gone with us to Exeter?
Not with you guys. I did solo down just to find out what it's like down there and see what the scene's all about.
Whereas now we've come up to the good, glorious north.
Good north.
Yes.
Up to the north.
And this will be the furthest we've been now
Okay.
for a tournament. So a couple of 100 miles to 233 miles.
It's pretty impressive.
Which
That is
for-
pretty impressive.
Americans isn't that far.
No.
It's like driving to the next town, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I'm quite excited that, because I suppose thinking about like the Northern Open seems to have like this massive pool of people, and I suppose we're going to have boys from Scotland who are quite literally coming from a different country. So I guess I was thinking about what's drawn you to come to the Northern Open.
Well, the reputation as much as anything. I think Infinity Northern Alliance's Northern Open has always had a great reputation across the UK for having quality tables and a sellout crowd every time. And we kind of we love going to all the tournaments across the UK, but I think it was almost unique in being that only tournament with fully painted tables in the UK. I think it still is now.
Okay.
So we wanted to come up and see what all the fuss was about, because it's literally one of the few tournaments in the UK which sells out pretty much on the day most of the time.
Yeah.
And we had to come and see it. We had to come and see what all the fuss was about, didn't we?
Yeah, we've played some of the guys in the Midlands tournaments in the war zones. We meet up and we clash with them occasionally. And one or two have ventured down south.
Yes.
Made sort of little forays into our territory. So
Well, we had Peter of the Straight Out Caledonia blog.
Yeah.
Popped down to one of the Totally Great Opens last year. He won it. So the Northerners got a reputation for winning them tournaments.
Back to take the title.
Yeah, we come back.
Try and reclaim our pride.
Got to get some
Quality.
revenge.
Quality.
So we brought some shandy and
Some lube. Ooh, no, wrong audience. Sorry.
Cool. So I'm super excited to see how tomorrow goes, and I suppose I'll catch up with you guys as we kind of go along.
Awesome. All right, cheerio.
So it'd be pretty annoying if I just stayed here for the rest of the games. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it, and we hope to see you the next one as well.
Thanks for coming. Thanks.
So, I'm going to start off with the painting competitions. First of all, I'm going to do Best Army. The winner of Best Army is James Newman. Best individual minute, again, this actually wasn't that close. This was pretty much a landslide win. So I just want to say congratulations to Tom. Right, the most important painting prize, the one that everybody is here to know about, the painting raffle. The winner is James Harper. Woo! Okay, Wooden Spoon this year, I mean, it was fiercely contested. But the person who managed to come away with, I don't know if you'd call it a victory, but it was the best result in there, and has won some awesome prizes. The winner is Ben. So, in third place, and again this is a £10 voucher, is James Harper. Sweet. In second place, and I can say this is literally by one tournament point, there was not much in this at all, is Chris Pepple. Okay, and the winner is our very own Pete.
Okay, so it's Monday and it's been a couple of days since the tournament and I'm actually at work at the moment, but I've had a couple of cancellations, so I thought I'd have a quick chat, sort of, now I've had some time to sort of process kind of how the Northern Open 9 went and sort of have a little chat about kind of that weekend really. So, again, had a massively fantastic time. The Northern Open is probably one of my favourite tournaments just because of the way it's organised and because of kind of the people that are there, so it's kind of all like coming back to see old friends, and also this time got to make some new ones, so I kind of go a bit in chronological order and sort of maybe it'll make more sense. So as you can probably see from the video that the Totally Crit boys did really well. Chris and James placed really, really high, sort of second and third, which is fantastic, and I guess meeting them was a really, really nice experience. I was kind of not nervous because meeting strangers and talking to strangers is kind of what I do for a living, but kind of was more apprehensive in the case that, right, I'm meeting you for dinner and we're going to record, and what if we don't get on, or kind of what if the conversation's sort of like disjointed and not good. But to be honest, it was a bit strange. It was like we'd known each other for a long time and they were really nice blokes, and it's almost a shame that they're so far south because I think they'd be really fun to weekly game with and sort of go out for a few beers every now and again with. So I'm super, super glad that I got to record with Totally Crit and got to hang out with Chris and James really, because they're super nice guys. So I really hope them and the other Totally Crit boys sort of come back up for the next one. As you can hear the hospital in the background. But hey. So kind of going on through the tournament then. So I had an awful 3 games. Through only my own fault, I suppose. It's funny because a lot of the podcasts at the moment have been talking around kind of progress and how do you measure progress, and I suppose I was kind of reflecting on myself and thinking that a month ago at the Harlequins tournament I placed second. I had the exact same list, we did the exact same missions, and yeah, yesterday I placed second from bottom, 23rd I think out of 24. So thinking about kind of progress in terms of like, is it doing well and winning games? Well, I suppose I'm coming to the consensus that it's definitely not. It's making good choices and knowing what your opponent's bringing out, in the sense that knowing what that does or stuff like that. So definitely still getting there with that. So I had 3 really bad games. Over 3 games I only scored 2 objective points, which even for me is absolutely awful. I suppose thinking about the 2 comparisons between the tournaments within Preston, I suppose there's definitely one game I can put down to I think the player was quite inexperienced, even more so than me. And then also sort of when I played Simon, he just forgot to rush for the objective points, and I did that. So in this tournament, I suppose I played 3 really good players. I played David, who's Oding on the forums. It was really, really good. It smashed me. It was an interesting game. What was really fun about these games was that with Oding, it was back and forth, and then with Chris Jarrett, I think it's Jarrett, so forgive me if not. But that was back and forth again, which was really, really exciting. When I played Adam, me and Adam had played before. He smashed me. Well, he took away sort of my opportunity at getting first. Last time I played him, this time he just outright destroyed me. Especially within Deadly Dance, and I suppose thinking about having a lot of discussions around this of do you take a tag. I opted with no because I wanted a lot of anti-tag things, and I don't really know how to run the Gorgos. However, I've definitely read the mission wrong, or when it was ruled at the Northern Open, it didn't go in my favour. So it was played at the Northern Open that you need to get a tag in the quadrant and you get your point. Whereas I've read it as a dominant tag, so I thought you had to be dominating the quadrant and have a tag in there to get that extra point. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not good enough, and the Gorgos is going to die. So that really let me down. That lost me sort of, I was giving up 3 points initially, and Oding really got those 3 points hard. He played that really, really well. When I was playing against Adam, not a single dice roll went and everything just died. So, and when I mean kind of not a single dice roll, I killed a Warcore. It was hilarious and I had a really good time. But it was just not happening. And then with Chris, it was back and forth, and it kind of came down to the last order point as to whether I could draw the game. And I couldn't, and as kind of with Infinity goes, if you don't kind of have, sort of, what was the last one called? Supplies, if you have more than your opponent, you're also getting a couple more points. So overall, it was really good. I couldn't lose hard enough to get the spoon, which is a shame. But yeah, so overall a great day. The plans for the next one, I suppose, is what they're talking about is doing a limited insertion tournament, and I've been wanting one of these for ages. We were going to go to one with Ragnarok Games before Andy had to pull out because of his poor health. So I've been wanting one for a really, really long time. I'm in a debate now at the moment as to whether I'm going to... I suppose my 3 options are, if I keep playing Toha and learn and get better with them, I'll use different units such as the Ektros because it's limited insertion. I can take some more heavy hitters or maybe even a double Rasail list. Who knows? I think they'd be really good because when you've only got 10 orders and 9 of you guys are in 3 link teams, I think that's really going to compensate. The only thing is, as Luke was saying, whilst I'm getting better with Toha, I'm also missing out a large majority of the games such as hackers and tags, and I'm missing out a lot of what the other factions do, so maybe therefore I'm not learning as much about what my opponent's going to do. So then it's whether I go back to my Yujing, which got broken after my shelf collapse, so I could repair them and run a heavy Sujan list, which I think could be quite fun. I've got the stuff, I just need to finish painting it and stick it back together where it got damaged. Or the kind of thing I'm a little bit excited about is if my Necrons sell for enough, I could get myself a Magahriba guard and start a hag force where I'd be forced to learn to run with a lot of irregulars. I would focus it around vanilla and use my tag as a Maggie, and then use lots of other things like hackers to buff it and to sort of stop it getting taken over. So I think it could teach me a lot of the game, but it's going to be like, I'm not starting from scratch again, but I think it would be a few games where I get absolutely pummeled. But it could be really fun and I could learn a lot from it. So those are my options at the moment, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do as of yet, but I'm going to hopefully decide soon once the Necrons have sold, which it looks like they're going to go now, so quite exciting times. I was going to sign off from me for now, so I can get this video up tonight so you guys aren't missing one for too long, and I'll be back definitely with next week with at least a bat rep and hopefully a vlog on top of that. So I hope you've had a nice week in gaming, and I'll catch up with you next week.